Welcome to our channel. Stay tuned to our channel for sports and entertainment news all the time. Please subscribe the channel. NBA Power Rankings 2025 All-Star Starters announced. Cavaliers slide, Wemby in France. It's almost the end of January, which means the 2025 All-Star break is right around the corner. The league took the next step of the much-needed break when it announced all 10 All-Star starters for both conferences. The West All-Star starters are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. The East All-Star starters are Jalen Johnson, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Karl Anthony Towns. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers have struggled with 3 straight losses. After a historical start, they've looked pedestrian this month. It's just the latest reminder that the lengthy regular season involves ebbs and flows for everybody. Throughout the 2024-25 season, Thunderwire will conduct weekly NBA Power Rankings. Here is the latest edition for the January 20-26 week. 30. Washington Wizards, 6-38. Previous ranking, 30. The Wizards have lost 13 in a row. Not a single game this past week finished within single-digit points. Washington has separated itself from the rest of the tanking pack. Kyle Kuzma said he'd rather not develop young players, and just play is the cherry on top. 29. Utah Jazz, 10-33. Previous ranking, 29. The Jazz have lost 5 in a row. They've tanked the entire season and have sat out their best players to ensure that. Utah made a smart long-term plan by giving the Suns some immediate draft capital in exchange for an unprotected 2031 first-round pick. It'll be a valuable commodity. 28. New Orleans Pelicans, 12-34. Previous ranking, 27. The Pelicans suffered 2 blowout losses this past week. Another game against the Bucks was postponed due to the New Orleans snowstorm. Even with Zion Williamson back, the Pelicans continue to struggle. It's a lost season for them filled with injuries and bad coaching. 27. Charlotte Hornets, 12-30. Previous ranking, 25. Injuries continue to hit the Hornets. They lost Brandon Miller for the rest of the season with wrist surgery. He's finished an underwhelming sophomore season, struggling to be an efficient scorer. Charlotte should still have high hopes for him, as it likely adds another blue-chip prospect to its roster this upcoming draft. 26. Brooklyn Nets, 14-32. Previous ranking, 24. The Nets have made up for lost time. They've lost 6 in a row. It's a full-on tank in Brooklyn this season as trades and lengthy injury reports suggest its intentions to add a high lottery pick. In a nice escape from reality, Vince Carter had his jersey retired by the Nets. 25. Toronto Raptors, 13-32. Previous ranking, 28. After being awful most of the year, the Raptors have enjoyed recent success. They've won 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6 games. They beat the Hawks for 2 straight wins this past week. Scottie Barnes had 24 points and 11 rebounds against Atlanta for its latest victory. 24. Portland Trail Blazers, 17-29. Previous ranking, 26. The Trail Blazers suddenly look like a quality team. They had a 4-game win streak snapped by the Thunder. And Fernie Simons has taken off as Portland's top scorer. This stretch has shown that perhaps Portland has some interesting pieces after all. It should get a chance to add to that pool with a lottery pick. 23. Chicago Bulls, 19-27. Previous ranking, 22. The Bulls have lost their composure over the last 2 weeks. They've lost 7 of their previous 8 games. While they still hold the 10th spot, the footsteps behind them are getting louder. Chicago must snap out of its funk if it wants to play in the postseason again. 22. Philadelphia 76ers, 17-27. Previous ranking, 23. The Sixers are right behind the Bulls for the 10th seed. Philly picked up a much-needed win over the Bulls to close the gap. Joel Embiid is in the middle of another absence due to knee swelling. Paul George might join him on the shelf again. He'll have a MRI for a finger injury he suffered in Chicago. 21. San Antonio Spurs, 20-23. Previous ranking, 21. As Victor Wembanyama quickly becomes one of the league's best players, the NBA has pulled out all the bells and whistles to showcase him as the sport's next face. The Spurs visited France to host a 2-game series against the Pacers. They split. More importantly, though, Wembanyama was beloved by the French crowd as it resembled closer to an NBA Finals atmosphere than a regular season one. 20. Atlanta Hawks, 22-23. Previous ranking, 13. In a disappointing stretch against East foes, the Hawks have lost 4 in a row. They've had a fun season, but could have proven to be legitimate. Instead, Atlanta is right back in the play-in range and could lose Jalen Johnson for some time with a shoulder injury. He's been a most improved player candidate. 19. Golden State Warriors, 22-23.